Okay, so the next bit is using simple interest. So, hands up if your parent's got a Visa card. Most of you will have a parent that's got a Visa card. The good thing about Visa cards is that you can put items on that and you don't have to pay for it up front, and that's all sweet. The problem with that is if you look at the interest rate on them, the interest rate is just enormous. Often it's daily. Okay, so interest is being, those of you that have done the simple and compound interest, you understand that if interest is calculated daily on every day, that mountain of money that you owe just gets bigger and bigger if you're not consistently paying it back. So Visa cards can be a fair challenge. They generally sit around 22%, their interest rate, 22% daily. So it can be quite a challenge. Okay, you're going to sort of look a little bit at interest rates here with a couple of your items. Okay, so it comes into this page. As I say, those that are paying attention, hopefully you're just following on your page and making notes as you go. So this one says calculate the simple rate of interest if it is 40%. All right, so you might have an item, let's pick that 447. That might be your item 1, and the interest rate is 40%. What's 40% as a multiplier? 1.4. It's 1.4, isn't it? So if you would, where'd it go? If you just times that by 1.4, that's going to give you your very enormous total. All up, you'll be paying back $6,225.80 there. On top of this, illustrate for each product. So for each of, so this is product, remember you had these 3 products back here? This is product 1. You do the same for product 2 and do the same for product 3. So that would be done to there, okay? Then you get each product, product 1, mark up 15%, and then follow that by a discount of 5%. I'm happy for you to do 2 or 3. Okay. Now, with this one, it's common that happens in stores. You'll see that they'll say, oh, come into our store, we've got 50% off. But what they don't tell you is they up the price the previous day by 60%. Or they up the price by 40% the previous day. You're only getting a 10% discount, but it looks really cool because it says, come in, we've got 50% off. So we pick our product again, 4447. How would we use multipliers here? A markup of 15% followed by a discount of 5%. So we could use our markup here, couldn't we? So 1.15. Ryan, we could do 15% markup means we're paying that 100% plus another 15. So it could be 1.15. And then a discount, does a discount mean more or less, Kayla? Less than 1. So what would our multiplier be for a discount sale of 5%? Do you reckon you know, Kayla? No. It's the 100 take the 5%, which leaves you with 95. And then that is a multiplier, Harry? 0.95. 0.95. Good. If you do that on your calculator, 4447 times 1.15 times 0.95, it straight away brings you to the cost of your item. But in the past, the way you probably would have gone about that would have been to say, I'll find 15% of that, then I'll add it to that, and then I'll find 5% of that and take it from that, and eventually you get the answer. So there's so many more steps without the multiplier process. So that's how you do that one. Any questions with that? Okay. Now we're moving into the getting a job and finding a vehicle. Or getting a car. You've got to research a job you'd like to apply for, and you just put down the website. A really good one there, guys, is called, if you put into Google again, the goods guide. definitely has an S on the end. If you put that into Google, it comes up with a job guide. Have you guys used a job guide before in any subject?
What's the job guide?
The job guide is all the jobs that you could think of, really, in Australia. All right. If you go to the left-hand side, on the left-hand side, it's got search professions or search for jobs, and then they've got them in alphabetical order, A, B, C, and if you just click on the A, it gives you all the jobs that are starting with A, all the jobs starting with B, etc. Find out how many hours a week that'll be. You might not find this question in this area. You might have to Google this separately. What will be your wage for the year? What will be your weekly pay or your fortnightly pay? So you just got to divide that by how many weeks there are in a year and how many fortnights there are in a year. So that's relatively self-explanatory, I think. Nothing too difficult you wouldn't have done before. Okay. The next thing refers to the tax table. Okay, now the tax table will be processed this way. If you go to ATO, it'll come up with, that went straight there, it'll come up with this. If you click on individuals, which I'll do, and then you go down the left-hand side, click away from that, you go down the left-hand side, you go to find rate or calculator, and you go to income tax rates. Yep. And then that will come up there like that. All right. You find what your wage was. So your wage might be $82,000. And proposing it's $82,000, that would mean you would fit into this bracket here. Alright, so if you're on $82,000, you're in that bracket there. What that says is out of your $82,000, you pay $17,547 to the tax department before you ever get it. Okay, so straight away, $17,547 is off you. You don't take that home. That means at the moment you're only taking home $64,453. Plus you lose 37 cents for every dollar that you earn over 80,000. Beth, how many dollars are over 80,000 in this wage? How many dollars are there over 80,000 in this wage? How much more than 80,000 do you earn in this example? Cheyenne? 2,000. Yeah. Can you see that? Yeah. $2,000. All right. So for all of those $2,000, you're paying 37 cents back to the tax department as well. So if you times that by 0.37, that gives you another $740. Okay, so if you subtract 740 off that, you'll get your total income that you would ever receive. 64,453 take 740. It means you're only taking home 63,713, even though it says you earn 82,000. Okay. What's tax spent on? Governments use that money to spend on public education, on public hospitals, on the fantastic roads we have, etc., etc. Okay. So that will be how you use tax tables, but you may need to call me over when you get to your individual tax tables, depending on how to do it. It'll be the first time you've seen them. Is that the first time you've used them? Will that be? Yeah. Okay. So that's all pretty new to you. So be patient with that and call me over if you need help, for goodness sake. So that's in the tax area. Here you've got, it's pretty self-explanatory. You've got to find out the difference between gross and net pay. Okay. and you need to state what your gross pay is and what your net pay is. That's a sort of a Google effort again. All right. Then we go to buying a car. This is the car you've got. Okay. The car you've got is here. You have to pay a deposit because it gives you some feedback, some information here. Closer inspection of the advertisement reveals that the payments are for 4 years. Important. And a 35% deposit is required. I'm not going to go through that deposit process. I would imagine you'd know how to do that. What's the total amount you'd have to pay for the vehicle under these arrangements? These arrangements refer to this here, $75 a week. For 4 years, $75 every week for 4 years. Okay? I probably don't need to go through those calculations either, unless someone requests it.
Is that for $100 a month?
Where, sorry?
Is that for $100 a month?
$75 a week?
Yeah.
Possibly. Yep.
That's pretty expensive.
$300 a week.
And then you
A month, sorry, yeah. So that's that process there. What I'm hoping you're finding is your simple interest and your percentages are used throughout this, and you're seeing the need for it. You've decided to check out another option. You don't want to pay $75 a week. So you can get a loan from your friend at simple interest. So this is using PIN of 10.95% for 4 years. So you decide to pay the 35% deposit from your savings account up front, and then it says how much will you need to borrow from your friend. So it was $14,990, I think the car was. From that, you're going to subtract your deposit that you gave to your friend of 35%. That'll be how much you need, the deposit, sorry, and that'll be how much you need to borrow from your friend. This is the borrow. Is that okay and reasonable? With this, most of you, it turns out, haven't ever seen this stuff before, which has surprised me incredibly. So you're used to this PIN formula, all right? That's the formula you're used to. Calculate the amount of interest you'll need to pay your friend using that PIN formula. That possibly covers most of you.
The PRT is just principal rate and time, though.
Yeah, but you've never seen that before, is my understanding. Yeah. The rest is pretty self-explanatory, but the extension question is a challenge, okay? And when you get to that extension challenge, we'll have some time to talk about that one. I'm hopeful that has